What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Thanks for joining us here at Celebrate Sausage because we have got a really exciting and unique episode to share with you today. We're going to be making a sausage from Germany known as Erbswurst. It's also known as the pea soup sausage. That's right, pea soup. This is a high-calorie, nutrient-dense, very shelf-stable sausage that can be eaten by itself or can be eaten as a pea soup, right? It's going to be pretty wild. So you know what? Let's just jump right on into it. Erbswurst, here we go. This sausage gives me serious pemmican vibes, and I love it. Let me show you the meat selection. Pork belly or bacon. As you can see, I am using smoky bacon. In addition to that, we're going to be using pork back fat, and that's it. This is a pretty high fat content sausage. My fat is already cut up into small pieces, and then my bacon, which has already been smoked and processed, I mean, that's ready for breakfast. We just cut that up into small chunks. This recipe has diced onions. We're also going to be using salt and black pepper. Regarding the salt, I have adjusted the salt based on the fact that we have smoked bacon that's already cured and salted. And so we don't need to add additional salt. If you are only going to be using pork belly and not smoked bacon, you're going to want to increase the amount of salt that the recipe has. Okay, we're also going to be using nutmeg, a little thyme, and some marjoram. The main ingredient, though, is going to be peas. We have dried split peas, and we're going to be making pea flour out of that. Now, if you can get pea flour, that's what the recipe calls for, but I did not have pea flour, nor could I get it, so we're going to be making our own by putting the peas into our blender. I do like to put a little cling film right there on the lid so that when it blends up and powder gets all over the place, the blender top is easy to clean. Easy peasy, right? This is great. We've got a very fine pea meal, a pea flour right here. And what I'm going to do is just weigh out what the recipe calls for. You will find a recipe link in the description box below for this Erbswurst sausage. 400 grams, and we're good. All right. Next step is to grind our bacon with our back fat. Now that we're done, we can set this to the side and get our casing ready. For this particular sausage, you know, what's the right casing to use? I don't know, probably 40, 45 millimeter. I didn't have a 40, 45 millimeter casing, so we're using a 60 millimeter synthetic casing, which I think is going to be fine. But the point is, whatever casing you have is more than likely good. We're going to be tying a bubble knot on the end of this, much like you would with salami, so that the end doesn't open up whenever we stuff it. This is going to be stuffed pretty hot and pretty tight after it's all said and done. So we're going to tie these two strings together, and it's going to form a bubble right at the very end of our casing. And that should lock everything into place. Perfect. All right. Let me know if you want a detailed video on this knot all up close and personal. Okay, we're good on that end. We're going to let our sausage casing soak for 15-20 minutes. And let's move over to the kitchen because we now need to cook this sausage. With this sausage, it's important that you have everything that you're going to need at arm's length. You don't want this sausage to cool down, otherwise it's impossible to work with. So let's start with the pea flour, and we're going to take this and heat it up a little bit on the stovetop. We want to try to get as much moisture out of it as possible. So medium heat, you don't want to burn it. You just want to cook the pea flour for a little while, 8 to 10 minutes, giving it a stir. Just make sure that there's no moisture in it. You want it 100% dry before you move on to the next step. And the next step is to cook your bacon with your pork fat. That's what this is right here. Now we're going to be cooking this also on a medium heat. And what we're doing here is we're going to be rendering the fat and cooking the pork fat as well as the bacon. What I don't want is to bring the bacon up to a ultra crispy level. So what I'm looking for is browned and still soft, at which point we're going to come back and add our onions. And the same thing with the onions. I don't want to caramelize them. I don't want to brown them. I just want to get them translucent. So we're going to stir frequently. As soon as they're translucent, we can move on to the next step, which is to begin adding our spices. So we're going to add the spices that our recipe calls for. Give it a mix. A lot of rendered fat in this recipe. Once everything is well incorporated and you've let it cook for 30 to 60 seconds, we're going to add most of our pea flour. I wouldn't say add all of it at the same time, because, you know, maybe your bacon fat is a little fattier or a little leaner than mine. And so you're going to want to monitor it. Add a little bit at a time until you get to the consistency that I'm going to show you here in just a second. So you're going to see how we fold it in. That pea flour is actually absorbing The bacon fat, the rendered back fat, that's what it's absorbing right now. Much like beef absorbs the tallow in pemmican. Right now we're adding just a little at a time, letting it do its thing. Right now the fire is on a very low. I don't want it to cook too much longer, but I do want to make sure that it still stays hot. Otherwise, this becomes very hard. It becomes very difficult to work with. See how it's still relatively runny? At this point, I've added more flour, and look at that. We've come to a place where we have more of a paste. That's the consistency I'm looking for this recipe. So once you have that paste, go ahead and put it into your sausage press. And at this point, you should be moving pretty quick because you do not want the mixture to cool down and solidify inside that hopper. Load it up. If you have gloves that protect you from heat, now would be the time to get them because everything you touch in a minute is going to be kind of hot. So we're going to put on our heat-safe gloves and begin to stuff this sausage. As this sausage cools down, it will very quickly begin to firm up. And so what I normally like to do while it's at least still slightly pliable is tie it off. And you don't have to do anything special, just make it tight and cut it. Once you're done, you are finished with your Erbswurst. You now have a very shelf-stable sausage. What we're going to do is we're going to place this in the refrigerator, let it firm up entirely, and then tomorrow we'll pull it out, give it a cut, and give it a taste. And so what we're going to do is we're going to cut a slice off for ourselves. We're going to eat that one on the right. And then this one, we're going to cook up the way that you would if you were going to make like a pea soup. So I'm just going to take that piece, chunk it in a little pot with some water, and we're going to heat this on the stove. And honestly, I'm not sure how much water to add. I feel like if we need to add a little water because it's too thick, that's an easy thing to do. Or if we need to add some more Erbswurst, we could do that as well. All right, we've got this on a medium heat. We're going to bring the water to a simmer. And I'm just going to try to break apart that Erbswurst. Breaks apart pretty easy, especially as the temperature of the water gets hot. Starting to get nice and thick. A little too thick, all right? I added too much of the sausage and not enough water. So we're going to thin that down to a consistency that I think is acceptable. Okay, there we go. That's perfect. We've got our pea soup ready to go. What do you think about the consistency, guys? Do you think that's a little too thick? It smells wonderful. That smoky bacon's really coming through. The different spices that we added. All right, let's give it a taste. What a wild sausage, the Erbswurst, the German pea soup sausage. Check that out. Huh, how wild that is. Pork fat does have a tendency to get softer at warmer temperatures. Right now my room is pretty warm and I can definitely feel it getting a little bit soft. As far as the piece that we have right here, I mean, it's fairly easy to break. Yeah, so it's not, you know, incredibly well bound together. Especially as it gets warmer, it starts to crumble up a little bit. In cooler weather, it does stay pretty solid. And then, of course, we've got our, well, you saw it. We've got our, spill it all over the place. We've got our pea soup, which we'll try here in a minute. Let's just try the sausage by itself. It's strange to call it a sausage. Okay, Erbswurst. By itself, I gotta admit, it's not bad. It's seasoned pretty spot on, so like it stands alone. It's very creamy. The fat melts in your mouth, which is expected from pork fat. Beautiful flavor and texture, I might add, from the smoked bacon. And then obviously, you know, the bulk of this recipe is pea flour, so that pea flavor is definitely coming forward. I could just eat that by itself. I like peas, so that flavor is really appealing to me. And the addition of smoked cured bacon is just,
enhancing the overall experience. And so what we want to do now is we want to try, boy, this is thickened up quite nicely too. We want to try our pea soup. And I was just winging it, you know, how much water to how much of our Erbswurst we added. I did like the way that it melted out and then it formed that soup. That pea flour rehydrated beautifully. I don't get a lot of separation of fat, although there's a lot of fat in the sausage itself. So let's just take a quick little taste of this. This is pretty thick. So I could have probably added even more water, but let's just see how it tastes just like that. Here we go. Oh, wow. I wasn't expecting that. That's yummy. It's kind of the complete package. Instant soup. The flavors in the soup are a little more mellowed out, which is kind of nice. Oh, wow. I gotta tell you, that came together very quick. Two very different versions of this. You know, you could eat it by itself or you can toss it in some water and have yourself a wonderful pea soup. I got to be honest, I'm kind of impressed. I wasn't sure what to expect. Sometimes these sausages can go completely one way and it's not what you thought you were going to be making, but this is... I also feel like this is a fairly easy sausage to make. Depending on your own personal preference, you can adjust the spices and the herbs to really kind of kick it up, whether you're going to be eating it, you know, by itself or in a soup so that it's already ready to go. Either way, I think it's a fun sausage. It's worth a make. And I'm going to put a recipe link in the description box below for our Erbswurst. If you get a chance to make it, let me know what you think. If you have any questions about the process, leave them in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed today's episode, give it a thumbs up. I hope you're enjoying Celebrate Sausage Season 6 so far. If you're new to this channel and you're not really quite sure what's going on, we're in the middle of a month full of daily sausage making tutorial uploads. And I'm going to put a playlist right about here so that you can get caught up. But every day through the month of October, we're uploading a brand new sausage video. And I don't want you to miss a single episode. So hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. And that's all I got for you today. Be sure to stick around because tomorrow, same time, same place, I got a new video to share with you. So I will see you tomorrow. Thanks a lot for being here. Bye-bye. All right. I don't know which one I like better. I think that if I had to sit down as a meal, I would probably want to go with the soup. I feel like the spices are a little more balanced. Smokiness is coming through beautifully. It's very creamy, very rich. But at the same time, this packs a flavor punch. I mean, it's quick, it's easy. Mm-hmm.